Good morning. Happy Saturday. I am headed to church and I am late. I am late. But it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. My husband left with all 4 kids. He had to be at church earlier than we normally would go, and I wasn't ready, but everybody was ready. And to be honest, I felt really that I needed and wanted to be by myself. And so I let them go so that I could have that quiet time. I knew I needed it. It's just something was pulling me. I'll say the Holy Spirit was pulling me to kind of like step aside for a while. And not knowing that there was going to be a conversation that I had with a friend of mine. I had texted her earlier some information that I'm gathering together on trauma and how it affects your physical health. And I shared it with her and then followed up with a phone call. And then we started talking about childhood trauma. And as we were talking, I was piecing some things together, connecting some dots for myself. And then I began to get emotional and I said, I don't want to cry. And she's like, no. She said what I would say. No, cry. And I'm like, man, that's what I tell people. Why do I not want to cry? Who do I want to look strong for? And mind you, just us on the phone. Who am I trying to be strong for? Or is it that I just don't want to look weak? And so I allowed myself to cry. And I'm like, okay, there's something there. There's something that I had been suppressing and holding back, putting aside, or ignoring. And so I allowed myself to cry. It wasn't drawn out, but it was emotional. And I'm like, okay, there's things that are lingering that has not been fully dealt with. And I believe God had me step aside for a moment to recognize this. I really believe now that He is doing something in my life. And He's trying to get me ready so that I know how to help others. Over 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, I've been married almost 10. We're going on 10 next year. So my gosh, maybe 17 years ago. I don't do it as much, but I've shared with you that I used to go around speaking and teaching on health. I would talk about diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, allergies, arthritis, so many different health topics specifically, and talk about what causes it and how you can remedy it by lifestyle changes and natural remedies, along with forgiveness. And so from that, I would get people that would fill out a form to get a one-on-one consultation with me individually, privately. And sometimes it would be couples. Now, in those consultations, people come for their physical ailment. But how I worked with my clients is that I would first find out not what they're eating, but what's eating them. And lo and behold, majority of the issues and majority of the people, their health concern came from emotional issues. Now, mind you, the diet needed to change. There were some lifestyle changes that needed to take place, especially to promote healing. But if we looked at what 90% of the cause might be, we have a term for it now. 17 years ago, I didn't have the word trauma, but I could say it was trauma. Some from childhood, a lot from childhood, and some from their adulthood. And the trauma might come within a marriage situation. And God had brought all that to my memory, because it's been a while, that, hey, this is it. This is the trauma. You were working with it. You didn't have the word trauma, but we knew that something emotional and spiritual was going on that had to play in and the people that I was seeing. And that played a big part. And I think for myself, they may be some for me that I need to look into, so that I also can come from my own experience. Before I came with the knowledge that I had gained, the experience, the training that I had, but not so much from my own experience. I think this time around, God is bringing me forward to now not only come with the knowledge and the experience of the people I have worked with, but also from my own experience. So I can say, I know, I've been there. So yeah, that was deep. So it's a beautiful feeling, that healing. It's a beautiful thing, healing. And as I cried, I felt even better than just the exercise and the cold showers was doing for me. Yeah, I'm just pondering for a moment. Just, ooh, child. Life is interesting. And God, what God is doing, so that we know all that we go through was not in vain. So I'm ending here. If you too, like I, are suppressing emotions that it's time to release, so that healing can take place, then it's time. If you are unsure, step aside for a while. Take a moment. Get that quiet time. Have a conversation. I call it a powwow with God. Have a powwow. And ask Him, is there something I'm suppressing? Something I'm holding on that is affecting my overall well-being, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? Because to be honest, there's nothing too hard for God. All we have to do is have that conversation. And Jesus can help us. And I'm not just saying that, I mean, seriously. And that was what I've been doing. I've been praying and asking God, Lord, please do the work in me that you have begun and complete it in me, so I too can do the work that you want me to do. Everyone wants healing. Healing doesn't come outside of us in regards to what an individual does and doesn't do. Healing comes from God and the work we allow Him to do in us, and surrendering to that work. I think it's time. If we've been putting it off, it's time. It's time to heal. No more putting it off. It's time to heal. And for that reason, I came with She Is Whole. God had a plan all along. I just have to yield for Him to play it all out. Until next time, I pray that you heal mind, body, and spirit.